Hello, welcome to another edition of Chris Speaks. I'm your host, Chris Thompson. So, as of this recording, it was 2 nights ago. I went to this. What all I knew was it was an event for veterans. It was a free event, and I got to meet actor Glen Morshower. I actually got to have a conversation with him and shake his hand and like a normal human experience instead of just getting a selfie or an interview. And now you guys are probably like, oh man, you should have got a picture. You should have got it, had him say something. I know. Yeah, I didn't follow through with for my fans here. They're probably like, man, there could have been more than you just sitting here and just shooting out your opinions everywhere. Okay, but obviously there's enough of you that like my opinions. Um, so I thought it was going to be a concert. I didn't really look into the details of what it was. I just looked at the email real quick to get the address because it was like late at night when I got told that. So it wasn't till the morning. I didn't really have time to really look at the details. So I thought it was going to be a concert. And because it's a music venue. And and it turned out to be a filming of a TV show. So that was pretty cool. I've never been to a filming of a television program. Not, even all the years I lived in California, never went to see a show be filmed. So that was pretty cool. So it was the Rock the Troops Vietnam special that they're filming. So they did these interviews with them that I saw, and then they're also going to cut that in with footage of them. They're going to go to take these guys back to Vietnam so they can um, go see things and see how much has changed, see how much is the same, and see what kind of memories come up. So they interviewed these three guys. The main guy is L.A. Olson. He's pretty famous among the veteran community because he wrote this book about his experiences as a helicopter pilot in Vietnam, and it was called "Are You With Me?" So, like, if you're interested in that and interested in the what the Vietnam War was like through the eyes of a helicopter pilot and his crew, you might want to check that book out. I might see if my library has it or something. I might check that out. It sounds. I'd like to see get more of what his experiences were because we only had like I think it was only like a couple of hours, which all of that footage is not going to make it in there. That's what because when I was talking to um, Glen Morshower and yeah, this guy right here. See him? Yeah, you recognize him, don't you? I didn't recognize the name before, but the minute I saw him, I was like, that's that guy. I saw that guy on all kinds of movies. He's the guy I'm always like, he was in Transformers. He was also on the show 24. And I can't think of all the movies. Guy's been in a lot of movies. He's never really a leading man. He's usually a supporting actor. He's usually in supporting roles. There might be some. I haven't seen every movie he's in, so he might have some other roles where he's a more prominent character. But so it was the Rock the Troops, Operation Rock the Troops Vietnam special. So Matthew J.C. He was the co-host of this show. He's the guy who started this organization, and I believe it started with just a CD, like getting some guys together and putting together some music to send to the troops. So to I guess to help them get through, um, war. This was during the Afghanistan war, I believe. This was like in 2001. So this is what this guy did to help, and then it ended up culminating in him organizing concerts and going there to over there to Afghanistan and being able to entertain the troops. So that's pretty cool. And so he has this organization, Rock the Troops, and I looked over to the website. You should go to the website Do a Google search for Operation Rock the Troops. It seems like they're doing some really good work. They're helping people, entertaining veterans and soldiers, and just that entertainment, and then the getting helping these musicians get out there and get their music out there is healing. It's healing for a lot of these people that went through stuff. I met one of the musicians, one of the I think they call them the JC All Stars. So one of the JC All Stars is a guy named Josh Stone. He was really cool. We had a good conversation from one musician to another, one veteran to another. Um, he performed one of his songs. He performed two songs, but the song he performed was called "Coming Down," and "Coming Down" was about okay. Um, he was a soldier. I believe he had seen some combat, and um, when he came home, he ended up with a drug addiction, trying to deal with this PTSD. So the guy, I mean, I hope I got the information right. All I know is he was a soldier, and he had substance abuse, and the song's called "Coming Down," and it's really good. He's got this like deep, like raspy voice, and he plays acoustic guitar, and it just sounds so cool. I got to meet him, talk to him. So okay, so um, Ellie Olson and his buddies, Alan C. Allen and Tony Simpson. I got to talk to Tony Simpson. I didn't get to talk to the other guys because there was just a lot of people were still there trying to talk to everyone. And like an idiot, I was more concerned in getting to my open mic that happens every freaking week. Hey, that's musicians for you. We love being on stage. We love playing our music. So they were talking about being a part of a helicopter crew. So um, they would do everything from um, you know uh, transporting stuff, transporting supplies, um, weapons, troops. Sometimes um, providing cover fire for soldiers, troops as they were backing off, evacuating, getting out of the area, because like sometimes they'll just get ambushed. So they'd help do the cover fire to get them out of the ambush. Sometimes they do medevacs. Sometimes they drop troops off, take them from here to there. So it was he basically said any job they needed done that a helicopter could do, they would do it. And so and it was cool. It was like they're three old guys, but they were carrying on like a bunch of 20 something year olds again. And it was kind of cool. They were talking about things they the they did. So what's his name? Sorry, I don't have everything. Matthew JC must have done his research because they had them a cooler full of, I can't remember what the name of the beer was, but it's the beer it was a Vietnamese beer that they drink in Vietnam. And so that was cool. And they're talking, and the guys, L.A. Olson, he would do the most of the talking. He's quite a character. And they talked about some of the things. There was like some of the crazy stuff they did, like um, they were they're supposed to do a medevac, so they're supposed to go and get like one or two guys that were injured, and then they kept talking. Were trying to talk to the guy on the radio, and they was like, "What the hell are you talking about?" And the guy said, "It's like, sorry, I'm not the radio operator. He's dead." And then basically, they all got shot up, and so they're all laying there bleeding, probably gonna die. And so they're like, well, okay. So they go down there and they're like, man, we're not really equipped to deal with that many people. So they hoist them up because they have to hover over the jungle. They can't go down in it because the helicopter will get all messed up in it. It'd be bad. So they have to lower a hoist down. Because I've seen where they said it was just a hoist where you put the person on it with. When I was in the military and I was in Panama, it wasn't war, but we'd go through the jungle. We went with oh come on, what we had some people come in, and they some Chileans, from Chile, and they're from the mountains where it was cold and stuff. And they're coming to hot ass Panamanian jungle, and one of them fell out, and we had to. They lowered down because we're medics, and we were attached to an infantry battalion, so we did training things. So this poor guy had to lower down a stretcher hanging on a thing and put him in it, and they lifted him out. So it doesn't seem like they had a stretcher because it was like a last minute thing. But they had a thing where you could like somehow put a harness on them. So they pulled them up. They pulled all these guys up, and they're like he radioed headquarters where they were going to, basically saying, which most likely was a field hospital, and saying, we're gonna try to get these guys in. There's too many for the helicopter. And he said basically if we're gonna get them, and if we don't make it, everybody's gonna die. So they get that, and they get that done. And then there's some like other anecdotes, some hilarious stuff where they decided they were supposed to test out a helicopter to make sure it was would be ready for any combat situation. So when they would go use they'd know it did good. So that it would do good, that it wouldn't fail. So they decided to go to over Monkey Mountain, which, of course, so as you would think, it's because there's monkeys there. And they were talking about they were buzzing down by the trees they saw these monkeys, so they went low and flew low to scare them off. And instead, but there's this one ugly monkey. And this ugly monkey with a stick, and this ugly monkey wasn't going nowhere, so they came low, and he said, he beat the hell out of the bottom of the helicopter. It's like a plastic window, so they can look down, so they can what's the word? So they can see as they're landing. And so he just beat the hell out of that. And when they were going back, he couldn't tell them that a monkey with a stick did that, because that'd be embarrassing. So he said that they got enemy fire, and he's like, the helicopter's no good. Stuff like that. Okay, so and then we had like in between they had musical performances. So and they had them talking back and forth. They were pretty cool. Like I said, I talked to Tony Simpson. He was down to earth. He was a pretty cool guy. Talked to him for a little bit, and then, like I said, I talked to Glen Morshower. I shook his hand, had a conversation with him, and that was pretty cool. And I didn't really get starstruck. He's so down to earth. He just seems like a normal guy, and I just, instead of interviewing him, which a guy did before me, and I didn't even get a selfie with them. I instead of trying to record something and trying to keep that for the sake of the thing, I have the experience of talking to an actor, a well-known actor, and just having a conversation between two people, and having that for my experience here, and not depending on having some kind of media to look back on, because I would have spent all my time messing around with that, and wouldn't have been in the now at the time to experience this and have this good experience. Okay, so like um, so I'm a veteran, and like I said, I do belong to the come on, I haven't been there as long. The American Legion, and unless, in case I haven't said it before, none of my opinions on my show or anything has anything to do with the American Legion. It is an apolitical organization, so my views are not their views, and blah blah blah. The disclaimers that you'd have in a movie or something. So okay, and this is helping me a lot, and part of my healing is being able to identify as a veteran, and because I I haven't felt like a veteran. I'm basically it's anyone who's been in the military, but I didn't last. I don't lasted 9 months. I didn't even last a year. Got through basic training. I got through AIT, which is advanced individual training, which is where you learn your job for anyone who hasn't been in the military before. So, um, this is helping me, and it's also helping me understand my uncle who was in the Vietnam War. I loved my Uncle John very much, and he was haunted by that war the whole time. But basically, getting back to me, and I'll talk about my uncle in a second. I have felt like a failure, right? Basically, I got sent to Panama, and it was a bad experience. People were really mean to us because we were occupiers. We were an occupying force, and that learning what we were doing and what we were a part of and how the people treated us, and it freaking took its toll on me. It I ended up trying to kill myself, and hopefully this time I'm emotional again, and hopefully I've tried to do this video like twice already. The last time it just something glitched on this freaking thing, this tablet, and it disappeared. So, anyways, let me go on it. I only lasted 9 months in the army, and 4 of them was waiting to go home. And so, yeah, I guess that's when I really started becoming bipolar. Didn't know it yet. They just thought I was depressed. So I had a suicide attempt, and then I ended up coming home, which I was depressed for the longest time until I got my tax return and I got a guitar, and that saved my life. And that's why I'm a musician. I mean, I've wanted to be a musician since I was 15 and saw this saw this documentary called The Complete Beatles. I wasn't into music at all, really. I mean, I liked some songs, but it wasn't that's something I was into. And I became, after I saw The Complete Beatles, I became completely obsessed with music. So, and then I was able to get a guitar after the army when I was like in a terrible depression, and it pulled me out of it. So yeah, music like literally saved my life. And so when I was talking about, so I haven't felt like I was a veteran, because not only did I not even do my time that I was supposed to do, which was 4 years, I didn't even get through 1 year. And so I have been feeling like such a failure. And so this is being around veterans, being part of the American Legion, and going to these things with other veterans. It's making me feel like I am one of them, that I'm not a failure, that I got sick, I got mentally sick, and it's okay. And I'm not a failure. I am a veteran. And if there's other veterans out there that feel the same, don't feel that way. Don't let something. So what? So you didn't um, serve your whole term that you signed up for. So you didn't go to a war when you wanted to, because you wanted to be with your friends to make sure they came home. Whatever it is that you think doesn't make you a veteran, it's bullshit. You are a veteran because you have the cojones to go there, to go to basic training, get through basic training, do all that, and be where you want. So you deserve this. You had what it takes, but things just didn't work out right. You know? I mean, know how many people didn't have the balls to fucking join the military? I mean, not that that makes you something special, but I mean, that's part of it. Part of it is you signed up, whatever it is, you served your country. With me, it was kind of disappointing because I went in for the college money, and then I wasn't even in long enough to get the college money. And so, but I've always, that when I took the oath, when I joined the military, to uphold the Constitution, that that is in my heart, and it'll never leave my heart. I took that serious, and that's what I will always be. I will always stand up for people's rights under that Constitution. So going back to the thing, so this is helping me a lot, and um, so I had an uncle, John. I had two uncles that went to the Vietnam War, but um, my uncle Scott, who was my who's my dad's brother, my biological father's brother, he never talked about it. And then my uncle John, who's my mom's brother, um, he's no longer with us. He died about like a few months after I graduated from high school. Um, and what that is, they thought he slipped into a diabetic coma, and that's what killed him. But I think my mom said that she had talked to the doctor later on, and he said, no, this is not a diabetic coma. He said, I've seen this with many other Vietnam vets, and he said, this is the result of being exposed to Agent Orange, which my uncle was. So if you don't know what Agent Orange is, Agent Orange was this really strong pesticide. Oh, they've watered it down now, and I think it's what Roundup is. And it's causing cancer for people who've been around it too much. But so he had literally it dumped on him. He was in the jungle running around, and they did not let our troops know that they were gonna dump this stuff because spray this stuff because they didn't want um, the Viet Cong or whoever to know what was going on. And basically, it's an herbicide, so they were using this strong stuff. They would drop it, spray it on the the trees, and they would just wilt up like immediately and die. Like that's how bad the stuff was. So that ended up killing him like decades after it happened. And so watching, hearing this stuff and reading stuff and getting more an idea of what this war was and why it haunted him so much. And you got to this. Here's another thing. Okay, my uncle John, he was an airborne ranger in the army. He was a straight up assassin, man. And this guy, he got so used to being in the jungle that he kept going back. He served 4 tours of duty because he didn't want to come home. He couldn't relate to this. And he got to where he enjoyed killing and he felt horrible about it. My mom had told me a story where he cried and she never saw him cry because he was telling her, I killed him. When I started killing people, I liked it. And he said, what kind of person likes to kill other people? And so, and he's not the only one. And even if it's not you liked it, you turn on that killer instinct. And so there was a lot of stuff, even more so than any other wars, because of how bad the war was. They come home of soldiers like being in like what do they call them, the flashbacks, and killing people. And a lot of times they didn't punish them because they knew they weren't in the right mind, and they knew they weren't trying to do it. So a lot of people didn't, who it happened to, they didn't get it punished as much as a normal person who killed someone, because it wasn't it they were, because they knew they were so screwed up. And this is a problem, and it's still a problem. I think it's better than it has been, but part of the issue is they send these people to war, and then they just dump them off into society and say good luck. There needs to be a, a program in which they spend several months learning how to readapt to society, because once you turn on that war instinct, that killing instinct, it's hard for them to be able to um, come back to a normal 9 to 5 job, wife and kids, and everything's fine. But you turned on this mentality of a killing machine. So I really enjoyed going to this event. It was cool. Um, they already have. There's a movie called that they have that's based on it. That's called Operation Rock the Troops. Haven't been able to see it because you have to pay to rent or buy it on Amazon or whatever. So I don't know. Maybe I'll see if my library has it or something. And probably this organization is doing good things. Um, just look at their website, donate if you want to. I don't have any affiliation with them. No one's telling me to do this, but I think I what they're doing is good. Um, and and what they're doing with these men, they're helping people heal. And with these men from the Vietnam War that are having, they're taking them back to Vietnam and taking them to the places so they can see what's changed, see what's the same, see what memories it brings up, good and bad. And I mean, these guys have been holding. These guys are in their like 80s right now, right? So they're in their 80s, and these guys are still they're still not the people they were before they left and went to Vietnam. And there's a lot of heartache involved in that. There's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of PTSD. And what they're doing, what Matthew JC is doing, what they're doing, and just even entertaining the troops and helping soldiers become soldier veterans, ex-soldiers, have veterans become help them become musicians and help them entertain other veterans and soldiers. It's great. It's a healing process. And if you can donate, I wish I could donate to them because they're a nonprofit and they need these, like, they're only able to do these shows and these concerts and taking these guys to Vietnam because of donations. So if you can help out, if not, whatever. And I, like I said, it has nothing to do with me. I don't care. It's like what they're doing is good, and I'm part of a music program that still hasn't gotten off the ground, but we're working on it, and that's one of the main things we want: healing through music, and for me and for everybody else, because a lot of us veterans are messed up, and not all of it's from being in the military. Not of it's all of it's been being in war that some people have. I haven't. Some of it's just regrets. Some of it's not feeling like you did the job that you set out to do, and so. And if it can see how it works with me, if it can heal a basket case like me, maybe it'll help other people, and that's what I want to do. Yes, part of it's for me. I want to be a musician. I want to be in a band, which I haven't gotten a band together yet. I've been trying to get a band together for frickin' since I was 16. But well, anyways, so I'm talking a lot and rambling on. But anyways, it was cool. It was cool um, to meet Tony Simpson, who was one of the guys of the crew, and also Glen Morshower. That was really cool. It was really cool meeting him and talking to him, and it was cool talking to Josh Stone, who's one of the musicians, and we talked shop a little bit, talked about music and stuff, and it was cool. It was a great experience. I'm glad I went. It's helping me out a lot. Well, don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you like what you're watching or anything you've watched on here, and come back um, periodically. Sometimes I'm doing videos, like been on a video streak for a while, and sometimes I don't do any for a while, but see what's on here, see what you like. I have some of my music, some other videos of my opinions, and I want to hopefully expand out and do stuff. Like, I'm thinking of ideas of people to interview and stuff. But anyways, this has been another edition of Chris Speaks, and I'll see you guys around.